Welcome back. The title of this mini lecture is Colonial Latin America, Part 1. And we're going to talk about 5 terms that, as you do your reading and you go to learn more about this topic and time period, you can kind of key in on these terms in order to kind of get a sense of what's going on. All right, so remember, when we're talking colonial Latin America, we're talking a period of the late 1400s up through the early 1800s. And so there's a lot of nations that are being formed, there's a lot of conflict, a lot of experiences. So we will probably do a few of these in order to really get a sense of this time. All right, first term for us, hacienda. Now, the term hacienda for some relates directly to the concept of a farm, but generally it can mean an estate. Now, a couple thousand years ago, in Roman times, the Romans had these plantations or estates that were called latifundia or latifundium, and in many ways, haciendas kind of are comparable to that, right? They're not the exact same thing because the Romans really pretty much used slaves and all this stuff on there, but haciendas are a central part of understanding the economic and agriculture and ecological really transformation of colonial Latin America by the end of the 16th and really throughout the 17th and early 18th centuries. As these estates are formed, they become kind of central areas not only of power, but also of working relationships, the types of goods that are being produced, the manner in which the agricultural economy of New Spain is being transformed. The leaders of these, the hacendados, right? These guys, they are mostly men, are quite prominent in terms of the power dynamic locally, as many of these in the late 16th and 17th centuries are going to be drawing on indigenous labor, forced labor, through a series of different labor practices in order to have them work on these. So the repartimiento and a few others as well. All right, number 2, potasí. Now, of course, the agricultural economy forms the bulk of much of what's going on in colonial Latin America, particularly in New Spain or even in Brazil in the 16th, 17th, and early 18th centuries. But the thing that we tend, of course, to think about often is the mining, and Potosi would be a good example of this. Not only because of course, the kinds of wealth or resources they're taking out of these areas, so silver in this case or others, but also, what that wealth is being used to do, right? So back in Spain, in the 16th and into the early 17th centuries, their stock is rising globally, and their position of power is going to eventually, it's going to decline. But it's mines like at Potosi which are going to help to be able to kind of finance this, to kind of be able to support this. And the centers of mining operations, which are, of course, wholly brutal places as they are operating, really become sort of large seats of power. So Potosi, for example, by the time you get to the 17th century, it's one of the, if not the largest city, really across South America. All right, number 3, urbanization. All right, I know that's a broad term for us, but a big part of the arc of colonial Latin America is this, the conquest, this transition to colonization, and then from there, what is this kind of colonial space that the Spanish and the Portuguese and others are trying to build? And of course, they're building this space informed by the worlds that they had sort of left behind and kind of brought with them. And it informs this world they're trying to construct. And of course, Spain and Portugal, there is an emphasis on towns, there's an emphasis on cities, and so you can see this, of course, within the older colonial cities across Latin America. Certainly Mexico City would be a great example of this, starting at the Zocalo, the size and structure of the cathedral that gets built, right, the role of the plazas, right, and again, this way of symbolically demonstrating colonial power through these kinds of plazas and through these kinds of institutions. All right. Number 4 is going to be missions. All right, so a big part of the colonial process is the role of the Catholic Church and the effort on the part of some of its different groups in order to try to convert individuals to Catholicism. Now, in some cases, this is done softly. In other cases, this is done violently. The role of the state in kind of forcing and compelling people here is very prominent. Brutality is connected to this. But the role of the Jesuits, the Franciscans as well as the Dominicans, is a part of this process for us to be able to understand. The creation of these missions, their role in terms of a power dynamic against indigenous groups nearby is a big part of this, especially when it comes to thinking about colonial Latin America or colonial New Spain as we relate it to, say, the modern southwestern United States and the revolts that will eventually happen there by the end of the 17th century, the Pope Revolt and others. All right, number 5, Columbian exchange. So we will mention this term a bit, but it's kind of the process by which goods and resources and all things are kind of exchanged between Europe and the Americas. And it can have, for some, positive implications, but of course, much of this is negative and tinged with violence and brutality. Yeah, it's great the Irish eventually get potatoes and these different tubers that come from other parts of Peru and other areas, but there's disease and horrible violence and brutality that is a part of this too. Thanks so much.